The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello everyone, you're welcome to Leadership Podcast. And of course, it's the big issue. As usual, I'm your regular host, George Akba is my name, and our in-house analysts are here. We have Silas Ezegu and Innocent Odo.
Thank you so much.
Together, we'll be addressing the big issue of the day, which is Nigerians and the Crave to join Ukrainian Army. Well, some Nigerians, we learned, are burning in an unquenchable desire to be recruited into the Ukrainian army to help that country resist the invasion by Russia. With nearly 200 Nigerians already offering themselves. And of course, at the Ukrainian embassy in Abuja, yesterday, it was confirmed that the number of Nigerian volunteers is increasing and might hit 40 before the week runs out. And of course, according to sources, about 200 Nigerians have applied to go to fight for Ukraine in the struggle against Russian invasion. And with the number increasing, the Ukrainian government had already shortlisted about 100 who are the most qualified, because the Ukrainian government has more preference for ex-servicemen and those with military background who can handle weapons. Well, this news came and it was a very surprising report. The exclusive lead of leadership. What could be the motive behind the claim by these Nigerians with Ukraine to help that country to fight Russia?
Well, thank you so much, George. The desperation on the part of Ukraine to survive the onslaught from Russia, of course, is beginning to force them to open up sources from which they can actually get men and materials to help them in resisting the Russian invasion. But it came as a surprise to us as a people and as a nation that some of our own citizens were actually trooping to the Ukrainian embassy to be enlisted among those who have volunteered to fight for that country, the beleaguered nation now. So, but the leadership haven't taken an investigative step to understand why that is happening. Actually visited that embassy yesterday and can confirm that it was true that Nigerians are actually seeking for an opportunity to go to that country and help them fight Russia. So, but there were speculations, however, that some of the motivating factors behind all this move to join Ukrainian fight may not necessarily be the desire to go and fight and die for a foreign country, and some of them don't even understand the political intrigues or diplomatic intrigues involved in the whole affair. So why would anybody who doesn't even understand what is happening,
Even the language,
even the language, the terrain, the history, the politics around it, want to go and risk his or her life trying to defend what he does not understand, trying to defend what eventually may not even benefit him in any sense or benefit his own country in any sense. So, but the thing is that our personal opinion will begin to play a part in discovering what people want to do, in the way the motivating factors. And my personal opinion is that this group of people who are definitely not sure of what they are doing are actually seeking opportunity to escape the nation and go to maybe use the opportunity to melt away into some other Eastern European countries. Yes, into Ukraine. So that's what we feel is actually motivating them to actually get the opportunity to jet out of the country, and once they get to Poland, which is definitely the destination point before they are possibly recruited to join the Ukrainian forces. That is where I stand. That the motivation is simply very, very personal desires to live in Nigeria, and they are using this as an excuse to go fight for Ukraine. But the Ukrainians, however, are a bit wiser in the way they are trying to handle the issues. When we met with the second secretary of the Ukrainian embassy he said he confirmed that yes, people are coming to volunteer to go fight, but definitely that is how it will. They have not received any official statement as to how they are going to sponsor them, either by issuing them visas and many other incentives, to go there and fight for Ukraine. But then the people are coming, but they are just taking the list of those who are interested in going to fight for.
Thank you very much, Silas. You see, Innocent's view about the reason behind these Nigerians going to that country, and of course we understand that many of them have come to the Ukrainian embassy here in Abuja, whereas a few kilometers from Abuja is Niger State here that is being ravaged by bandits. Farmers no longer go to farm in that state, and many have been displaced from their home. So why are these Nigerians not touched by the plight of their own fellow Nigerians to seek to be conscripted to the Nigerian army to go and not fight bandits or even to Northeast Boko Haram? But they are burning an unquenchable desire to go to Ukraine. These Nigerians are not patriotic at all.
Yeah, I'm laughing all through. I find it a bit laughing, but it's a serious matter.
Of course.
We have the local adage that nobody likes to rush into a war, And people are rushing, trying to go to where they will kill. And it's not even an equal war. You can see the might of Russia, the world power. It's all right. Trying to squeeze it out of Ukraine. Ukraine is not small. They cannot compare them in terms of capacity in any way, with technology, military warfare, population-wise. I think Ukraine is about 41 million. The Russia should be almost 200 something million. Yes. So, and then you can see the bombs falling from the sky, people blown to pieces. And some people who are in Abuja here, I can understand if somebody in maybe not just state, maybe Borno, the epicenter of the banditry in Zamfara. I want to escape and not Abuja, but somebody who is not under some falling bombs, the threat of nuclear weapon and biological weapon all in the mix, and he wants to go. He does not understand the language. He does not understand the language. Does not even understand the politics of jargon. He wants to go and die there. No, even I read, I had about that. I said, no, these are Nigerians. There's something they say. If you see a tool running down to do, and people, as I said, something is possibility or it's possibility. So it's possible that things are spoken in Nigeria and they want to. So, and Innocent provided a very plausible explanation. And I'll tell you what happened sometime during the Nigerian War, where I was living in Abuja when I came to Abuja. A young man was calling his brother from US. So he was telling how he was able to leave Nigeria and telling him to try the same route. They are doing the war in Liberia. That was still going on at that time. He followed, whatever. I ran into Liberia. He found a way to go to Liberia and join the refugee crisis there. And the bombs were flown, the bullets were flown, and they all shooting over. And they followed the group of refugees were recruited from Liberia to the US. To risk life to go to war-torn Liberia to get opportunity to be drifted into. I would say, brother, I should find a way to go to Liberia. The war was at the thickest point. So I see a parallel what is happening here. That these guys, I know, they feel that Nigeria is the worst place. See, Nigeria is tough to live in. Yes. Even a former senator said it that if you survive this Buhari regime, you should be given a certificate of survivor. You know the singing senator for Kogi State. If you survive these times, you should be given a certificate of survivor. So I can understand that things are so hard, and the people want to live. But when Nigerians are doing something like this, Nigerians are not altruistic by nature. So is anybody, somebody who has altruistic, and the person will start trying to do it at home. So he asks the question: if they are not ready to fight the terrorism, in Niger State here, in Kaduna, and they're not even enrolling Nigerian Army. They're asking young people to join the police, and you're not getting enough numbers. And people want to go to Crave. We with the army, the rockets, the armor tanks, and the fighting and shooting.
And the worst of it all, you know,
there's something.
the worst of it is that if you check in the war between Russia and Ukraine, the balance of terror is even in favor of Russia against Ukraine.
And you want to go to where you're facing instant death.
No, you can't even understand the language. They can't tell you that they are going to fight for Russia because Russia necessarily don't need them. So they are looking at the one that the worst sympathy is for Ukraine.
So it's okay. I find it very ridiculous, and you need to check the mentality of the sarcastic, head of those who are coming for. And then, like Ukraine has said, the embassy said they want those who have background, not just anybody. And then two, you have to find a way to get to Poland. So how many of them will have the resources to get themselves to Poland? If you can, according to the report, if you get there, they will identify you, pay you, and other incentives and go. But how do you get to Poland here? So, and from the story, the current president has really signed that allows people to come in for visa free. So these are things, and since Nigerians always trying to check out to the country, that can be incentive for them to try to get to that area and make the way. It's not today we're started hearing about even athletes who try to go for competition, African Nigerians too, and once they run,
you see them making out, and then go. And most not only athletes, even those who go for official duties, from ministries and the rest, they go there before they just
students who get some even some students in some countries, some countries will issue student visas. They collect the student visas, but then they will not go to any school. They've been given admission, but the thing is that they will
not even pay the initial fees.
Yes,
and they will get there and they don't go. They make the way and join other people.
Well,
not the new thing.
Let's just quickly take some break. I will come back, and as we come back, we will expect to be getting comments from our viewers who are willing to contribute constructively to the conversation on the big issue. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Well, welcome back. We are still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is the crave by Nigerians to join Ukrainian Army. Well, these Nigerians are actually offering wholeheartedly, willfully to go to Ukraine to help fight Russia. As they are now aware of the Ukrainian racism towards black people, where people, especially Nigerians, have been treated unfairly. And at the end of the day, you see most Nigerians crying, calling for help. They want to come back. The Nigerian government is actually making plans to go and lift most of the Nigerians there. And you see, when they now went to the Poland border, you see where they were being treated there. They are not given, once you are black, you will not be allowed to pass through. Why would the Nigerian volunteer to go and fight for such a racist country that is dehumanizing black people in that country? You see, that is why most Nigerians think their offer is suspect. There's something more to it. Yes. Just like Sailor said, than just having that human sympathy enough to go and help another.
Just like I said before, ignorance is one of the factors around this whole desperation to go fight for a country whose history and politics you don't understand. How many of them know the intricacies between NATO and the Russian Federation, for instance? Why the Russian Federation is fighting to ensure that NATO does not extend its expansionist tendencies into territory that Russia was originally considered to be her own. Now, a lot of these young people don't understand some of these things, so they need to be given lessons in international relations and diplomacy. That's one. The second one is that, like we said before, desperation does not look at certain factors like you mentioned. Now, if you're telling them that there's racism in can tell you that there is even more racism in Nigeria. After all, there are people who are being killed for being just from a different ethnic group in Nigeria. Those who are killing Nigerians are who come into Nigeria and kill Nigerians in large numbers. They are not even Nigerians. A lot of them are not Nigerians. So if Nigerians can actually come into, I'm not justifying this anyway. If Nigerians can, foreigners can come into Nigeria and become bandits, become terrorists, become whatever they want, and they're killing Nigerians, kidnapping and raping Nigerians in such a number, what then do you think about outsiders or what Nigerians are doing? So there's a twisted mindset that these people have that we need to begin to correct. And I'm not sure that we have done a lot of orientation, in trying to, reorganize our people, refocus them, try to revitalize their mindset, because there's something fundamentally wrong about our cognitive, system, the thought process through which we acquire the knowledge of ideas. Something has to be fundamentally wrong with it for people who see death and destruction and are willing, probably as a pretense, to go and die for nothing. Because anybody who, in fact, is
well, sorry to cut you short, I am innocent. I think our viewers are beginning to contribute here. And we have Tunde Oguntola. And this is what Tunde Oguntola has to say. The federal government recently approved $8.5 billion, is it billion or million, to evacuate Nigeria in Ukraine. If you want to be treated as VIP, travel out of the country. Those Nigerians in Ukraine don't face a fraction of the dangers that some villagers face in Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina, or Borno State. But the villagers were not evacuated simply because they are not Nigerians in diaspora. No, imagine what he has to say. He has a point there.
Opinion actually taps into what we are saying here. Yes. That the security situation here had actually twisted the mindset of people. And they are looking for escape from the danger that we have around us. So wherever you are, there's danger. Now, I'm not supporting, because this issue of racism, there are certain things that happen when war is not a normal situation. There are certain negative things that develop when war begins to happen like this. And I think I engaged the embassy over this matter, and the excuse they gave, even though I didn't quite.
I'm sorry again to cut you. I see Tunde Oguntola has actually added something again. What Tunde is now saying is that Nigeria are seeking to help Ukraine versus fight Russia, are simply seeking asylum and better life. Asylum. I think asylum.
That is the point.
That is what Silas said.
That's what was the point.
They are seeking for greener pastures. That is what it amounts.
Using the route that they take as a result of this. But definitely there might be openings that will come as a result of this thing. So they are trying to exploit these openings in order to make themselves. If you, from this crisis, like you said here, somebody used the opportunity of the Liberian crisis to jet out of the country, and today he's in the US. He's probably enjoying a better life than if he's here. You understand? So these are some of the things that I believe have motivated Nigerians to go, because I don't think any Nigerian in his right senses, no matter how much love we show for Ukraine, some of them may have not even heard the name Ukraine before. But then you heard that.
Also, that there are a lot of desperation in the country.
Yes,
you're correct about that. A lot of people are so frustrated with that system that anything like Nigeria will do for them, even if it's a war zone. So, but they don't understand what is there until they get there. They say the gas is always ready on the other side to get there. But like I said, somebody needs to equip them and let them know exactly what it is.
Well, let's just see how we can round it up here, because they're giving us signal that our time is up. But we hope those volunteering to go to Ukraine know what they are doing, and they have their transport fare going and coming. Not when they find themselves in a precarious situation and they start sending us back home here. The word is enough for the wise anyway. That is the most we can take for the big issue. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, I'll thank our in-house analysts for actually addressing the big issue the way it is. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.